Hey guys, Ronnie Chavez here, and today is the day that I bring you the backflip tutorial. Now I know you guys have been requesting this tutorial for a long time. It's taken me a while to get to because I know there's a lot of awesome backflip tutorials out there, but also this move is very dangerous, and so I just wanted to make sure in my own tutorial that I hit all the points right and that I make sure when you guys go out to learn this trick that you're as safe as possible, because I don't want to be held accountable for kids going out and trying crazy tricks and breaking their necks, because that's not what it's all about. Everything is about learning how to do it safely and progressively. So to start off learning the backflip, the things I strongly suggest that you have before you begin so that you can learn it safely is, first, have a friend with you. Whether they're just there to watch you in case you do get hurt, or they can be very helpful as far as helping spot you. I'll teach you later how you can spot a friend when doing a backflip, and also just having support always helps. Second, make sure you are in a safe environment. So the ideal place to be would be a gymnastics gym where you can learn onto pads or even a foam pit. That makes it really easy learning this trick. But I know that isn't an option for all of you, so just make sure you can do whatever you can to have a softer landing environment. So once you have those things in place, the last thing to know is once you know the techniques to the backflip, make sure that once you go to start doing it, that you commit 100%, because if there's any sort of hesitation when you go to do the backflip, that's how you get hurt, is going up in the air and then freaking out. That's how people land on their heads and break their necks. So make sure that when you do decide to go for it, that you are committed 100%, that you have no fear in your mind and you just feel confident in it. Otherwise, it's going to be riskier and bad things can happen. Alright, so before you actually start trying the backflip, I want you to become very familiar with the technique in the backflip. So it all starts in the feet, in the jump. It's really important in the backflip that you jump up. You're not jumping backwards, unless you're doing it off of a ledge or something, then you're slightly jumping backwards, but you want to be jumping straight up as much as possible. And in the jump, you want to make sure you're jumping from your toes. You will bend your knees a little bit as you jump, but you want to make sure it's an explosive jump. It's not a slow kind of like boring jump. It's a fast, explosive jump. You're going to be throwing your body up as fast as you can. You also want to make sure you aren't crouched too low when you go into the jump, because that's actually going to make it harder to get higher. You barely just want to bend your knees a little bit, and then as you jump, you want to keep your chest up, because that's what's going to keep you up high in the air when you start your rotation. So next are the arms. So as you're jumping, you're going to throw your arms back, and as you jump up, you're going to swing them up with you. By the time you reach the peak of your height in your jump is about when your arms are reaching the top of your head. This motion has a lot of G-force on your arms, and that's what's going to help throw you into your flip once you hit the peak of your height. So your arms hit here, and my feet are in the air, and then what's going to happen at this point, I'm going to tuck my knees into my chest and let them just keep going with the motion that I've already created. This up, and then this G-force of rotation, my knees will just naturally follow. So you want to make sure you jump up first, and then bring your knees to the chest. If you try and bring your knees too early, you won't get as much height. You'll jump and you'll just stay close to the ground. So I want you to practice this motion. You're going to jump, reach straight up as tall as you can, and then bring your knees up to your chest as you're rising to your peak. Okay, pretty simple exercise, and I want you to practice that multiple times before you attempt the backflip. Now the tuck of the knees, they're just going to be coming towards your chest, and I like to grab kind of just below my knees on my shin so that I can pull them in tight to make my tuck smaller so that I can rotate faster. Something you want to avoid when jumping into the backflip is that you're not looking back like this as you jump into it. You want your head to just naturally be facing forward with wherever your shoulders are. And then as you throw up, you'll look up, but you're not whipping your head back. You're just looking to where you're going. So your head should just naturally go wherever you want to be looking for the backflip. Another problem people tend to run into is whether it's because they're scared or just their body doesn't know how to stay straight, they'll cheat off to the side and kind of do backflips over the shoulder. But it's going to teach you bad form and it's going to take a long time for you to break that habit. So you really want to make sure you focus on just going straight back, and that's just keeping everything centered, that as you go up, your arms are centered, your shoulders are back and straight, and everything, especially where your eyes are going, is just straight up and down. You're not cheating your head to the side to try and spot your landing earlier, because wherever your head looks, your body is going to start following that, and then it's going to throw off your whole backflip. So make sure that you just are looking straight back and watching for the ground to come around so that you can spot your landing. So watch as I crouch down, I begin to jump, whipping my arms up as I jump up, reaching my feet, keeping my chest up, and then as soon as my feet start leaving the ground, I'm going to then start bringing my knees up to my chest so that it's rotating me over. My arms grab my shins to help bring the tuck in tighter, and at that point, I'm just going to tuck it all the way around until I can see the ground and spot my landing. Because once you can see the ground and know where you are, then at that point, it's pretty easy to get around. The hard part is getting past that spot where you want to get around past your head, because your body naturally doesn't want to do that, and so you kind of have to force it to get there. But then once as you come around and can spot your landing, then you just open up and time it so that you land on your feet. So now when it comes to spotting on the backflip, if you can have a friend with you, then it'll help a lot being able to have a little bit less fear and trust that your friend can help flip you around. So when spotting, it's pretty simple. The person is going to stand next to where you're doing the backflip, and they're going to use one hand to push against the back side of your leg and the other hand to lean against your lower back. And they're not going to really be touching you at first, but as you jump and go into it, they're going to use this arm to flip your legs to give you some momentum, and they're just keeping this arm rigid so that your back has something to rotate over. And you'll notice that this will help you get around a lot easier than if you're just doing it by yourself, and they can even kind of throw you if they feel like you're going to land on your head. So it can help prevent injury in that way, but you don't want to rely on them completely. It's still up to you to go through all the motions of the backflip, because if you still go up in the air and bail out, most likely they're not going to be strong enough to just be able to catch you and stop you from landing on your head. So you don't want to put that much trust in them. You still want to make sure that you're fully committed and that you're doing the proper technique before you attempt the backflip.
You can also have a friend just help you on the basic jump technique for the backflip in case you're worried about falling backwards.
So once you have the backflip down and you're ready to start learning the backflip off of height, I would recommend that you start with lower things to do the backflip off of first. So if you can already do it on flat ground, it's going to just get easier as you do it off higher objects, but again, it's going to become more dangerous because you're going to have more height. So if you mess up the backflip, then you can get a lot more injured from doing it. So make sure that you have the backflip down on flat ground first, and then you start working it on height. Now, I wouldn't recommend learning off something this high. I would start even lower than this. If you can find somewhere a ledge onto something soft, which is, maybe knee height would be a good level to start learning, because then there's more room to mess around with it. But basically what you're going to do is the same exact technique as the backflip on flat ground, but you're going to just spot it a little bit differently. So you're going to jump up you're going to make sure you lean back just slightly so that you're jumping away from what you're jumping off of. On flat ground, you don't have to worry about that. You can land in the exact same spot. But on this, you don't want to be landing where you're jumping off of. So you just lean back slightly, not very much at all, just enough so that it throws you out just a little bit so you're coming down far away enough from the ledge so that you're not going to face plant it or anything like that. And then finally, when you do it, just make sure that you still put as much technique into it as you would a flat ground backflip. Off height, people tend to lose form thinking, oh, I have plenty of height so I can, just throw it around and hope I make it around. That's not the case. Things can still go wrong. So make sure you still do the tuck and everything at first, and then as you get comfortable at that height, you can begin trying variations. Now with the tuck off of height, say I'm doing a tuck off of something this high, then I'm going to be opening up in the air a lot sooner so that I don't over-rotate and land flat on my back. So about a year ago, my dad actually started learning backflips, and he can do them now. So it's really cool that a 48-year-old can learn backflips because he'd never done them before and just started learning them at a gymnastics gym and then started doing them in his backyard. So if he can learn a backflip, I know you guys can. It just takes some practice and time and diligence in your training.